into this week's video. So for this week's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my tips and tricks for college and how to be successful in college. So these tips are great for all grade levels, but they are going to be more towards freshmen just because they're kind of starting to get into the groove of everything and still don't know the ropes yet. So this is going to be some helpful tips and tricks for my college freshmen out there. But anyways, let's get on into this week's video. So the first thing that I'm going to recommend is having a laptop. This is really great. Definitely depending on your major, I would look at the specs that are required, especially if you are a design major or you are a program major of some sort, and you need programs on your laptop. This is really great to know the specs of your computer and kind of what you need, so you don't get the wrong computer and something that won't work for you, or only works for part of your college years, and then you have to buy a whole new computer. So that's why I definitely recommend looking at the specs. I have right here, I have my Acer computer. This one is technically a gaming laptop, but it is great for all my interior design programs that I'm going to be using and that I have been using so far. So that's why I definitely recommend looking at the specs, but a computer is necessary to be able to take notes, pull up your lectures. A lot of teachers and professors will put your lectures on your Canvas or whatever you guys use, your portal. So you're able to look at all that information. Plus, if you have a digital textbook or even to submit assignments, you're going to need a laptop. So just highly recommend investing in a laptop that can get you throughout your 4 years of college. So the next thing on your laptop that I definitely recommend is creating computer folders. If you are not going to go ahead and be printing a lot of your documents out, if you're going to be printing, definitely have them in a file organizer, just something to keep everything together. But if you're going to be doing stuff on your computer, it's great to have file folders just in case if your teacher says that you didn't have an assignment, or something happened with your grades. You have a reference point to pull up all of your documents. So yeah. Another tip that I recommend is knowing how you want to do your notes beforehand, just so you can get supplies or other things that you may need for your notes, or you don't have to worry about what supplies or anything like that. Either just handwriting them if you want to be creative and take those Pinterest style notes, if you want to do them digitally on an iPad or tablet of some sort, if you want to have them get scanned in, or if you want to do them on your computer, whichever way you like to do your notes and what works best for you. Just find a format before college starts, so you kind of know going in, this is how I want my notes to be, this is how I want the format to go, so then you're not stressing and your notes look good from day one. And I just find it easier because you're not going to be stressing over how your notes are looking messy and they just look unorganized and it's just all over the place, and you just don't know what's working best for you. It is okay though to change it throughout the year if necessary, but I think it is great to kind of go in with a base plan on how you want to take your notes. So the next tip that I definitely recommend is sticky notes, and you'll need them, but you won't need a ton of them, but you will need them. These are great for to-do list if you want to use it as a checklist to check things off, or write individual things on there and then throw them away when you're done, so you can kind of see your progress and that you are knocking things out and knocking assignments out and stuff that's on your to-do list. So sticky notes are great for that. Sticky notes are also great for words of affirmation, and just to help keep you positive, and especially if you are homesick, these are going to be really great just to kind of help boost your energy and your vibe and kind of just, make you much more happier and kind of not drain yourself and where you go into a state of just not depression, but just closing off and closing everyone else off. So yeah, that's what I definitely recommend sticky notes for. And then I also recommend sticky notes for your notes. And these are great, especially to kind of write important information down. If you want to, you know, ask a question, you have to remember to ask a question, or if you want to kind of do like a flip, to have like the question at the top, the answer underneath it. Those are great. It's also great to mark your textbooks, and just those kinds of things. So I definitely recommend getting sticky notes for college. Speaking of textbooks, it is great to have textbooks, and make sure that you do get the required ones, but also kind of price around and see where you can get the most bang for your buck, because you do not want to spend an outrageous amount of money on textbooks. It's just not, you know, worth it. A lot of schools and textbook companies make them digitally, so if you do have a way that you rather not have the hard copy and you rather just get it digitally, definitely do that. I recommend getting that if that's what works for you. If a hard copy book works for you better, then definitely invest in the hard copy book. You can rent it or completely buy it. It is up to you depending on how you work. I bought all of my college books. I did not rent any of mine, and that was because I really wanted to highlight in my books, just because that is one method that I use that helps me study better, and is just a lot better, and just in case if I mark something up, it's just better for me. Also, a lot of my books are interior design books because that is my major, and I want to keep those for the future, because they have a lot of techniques and those kinds of things, so I think it was better for me to buy them versus renting them. So depending on your major and depending on your work habits, I would say, you know, go buy your textbook if that's what you really want to do, but a digital copy is not bad, if that is an option. And then also see if your teacher or your professor has activities that go along with the digital textbook, because sometimes you will have to buy the digital textbook and the normal textbook depending on, you know, if you have to do activities in the digital textbook. Also, make sure that you get the correct editions so you can follow along and you're not confused and lost in class. So I definitely recommend keeping all your stuff completely organized, and this is a great way to be successful because you can go ahead and have everything written out, you are on top of stuff, and you won't miss an assignment. So you can do this by creating your own planner, getting your own planner, or using Google Calendars, where it can sync to your other devices. So whichever way works best for you. I like to do a combination. I like to use my planner that I buy, and then I like to use my Google Calendar. And this is great because sometimes I do not have my computer out in class, so I can write stuff down into my planner, and then I can just transfer it onto my Google Doc, and not Google Doc, my Google Calendar, and then if I don't have my planner with me, it's all on my Google Calendar, so I can just pull it up if I'm going ahead and going out and about and I just have my laptop with me, and say I'm going to Starbucks or something and I just take like my laptop and like a few books. You know, I don't have my planner with me, or if I forget it, I lose it, something happens to my planner, I have it all digitally. So I like to do the two for that reason. Also, with planners, a way to be successful is to kind of color code each of your classes, so you know what class you have assignments for, when you have your test, when you have all of that stuff. It's really good to kind of color code, and it just helps with blocking and planning out your time better. So a successful way to make time to hang out with friends, go to parties and events, and just kind of have downtime is to block. And blocking is super amazing, and I can talk about it in another video, but pretty much blocking is just making times on when you do certain things. So for example, if at night, so my last class this upcoming fall semester ends at 3 on Mondays and Thursdays. So say between 7 and 8 I want to work out. I block that time, but give yourself an extra 15 minutes in case, say you run over a little bit, you still kind of have a window before your next blocking. to kind of allow you to go ahead and kind of have some wiggle room, but also gives you a 15-minute downtime in case, you know, you end up going strictly on time. So yeah, that I definitely think blocking though is a great way to be successful because it keeps you on top of your stuff and it kind of, you know, keeps you going. So I absolutely love blocking, and yeah. So when you're in college, avoid doing homework in your bed as much as possible. I know it's tempting and you want to sit in your bed and do homework, but it can make you tired. Multiple times did I fall asleep while I was doing homework. Yes. Or it was so hard for me to stay awake. So I definitely suggest going to your desk, going to the library, going to a quiet space. If you have study rooms, go to study rooms. Those types of things, because it'll be so much easier, less distraction, but also you're gonna feel more motivated. So yeah. So this is another kind of tip on how to be successful in college, but also just a kind of overall life tip, and you're gonna learn how to manage your time and kind of know when to hang out with friends and when to not hang out with friends, and kind of prioritize your timing out. I always suggest with homework to do 45 to 60 minutes of homework, and then I take a small break depending on that time that I allot for me to do homework. Depends on my break time. But this allows me to focus in on that 45 minutes to an hour to strictly do my homework, not be bothered, and I actually am more productive that way, or else I would be on my phone talking to friends and it would just take me 10 times longer to get something done. Also, do not feel bad about not being able to hang out with friends. Depending on your major, depends on how much work you have. And it's going to vary depending on your course and the load that they give you. So if there's a night where you cannot hang out with your friends, don't feel bad. Because in theory you're not going to be missing out on too much, and you kind of would rather just knock your homework out so you aren't stressed, because being stressed can actually make it 10 times worse and harder for you to get your work done when you're in a stressed state. So in order to not be stressed out, do that, you know, set a lot of time, but also just know that it is okay to just not hang out with friends while you're doing homework. And this is what I had to do and my roommate for next year. We both had to do this, where we had to not hang out with some of our friends because we had homework, and we would be up till, you know, 4, or not, well, I would be up till 4, she would be up till 4 too every once in a while, but we would be up pretty late just working on work, and 90% of the time it was because we were getting distracted. So it would make it a little bit harder for us, or a lot harder for us, to get work done. So yeah. Also, like I was talking about, going to a study room and something like that, that helps alleviate the distractions as well, and kind of just gives you a zone focus, and so you don't have to deal with roommates or, you know, your friends or something like that, especially if you know that you just want to focus and not have a huge distraction. But if you're going to be in your room, make sure your space is decluttered, because having a cluttered space is going to make it 10 times more stressful for you to focus, because you're going to be so claustrophobic and you're not going to want all the stuff around you, and it's just going to cause a lot of anxiety. So I definitely recommend just cleaning off your desk, and it'll be a lot easier. So the next few things are for when you're in class, and this is pretty much try to sit where you can see the board and the professor. This will be a lot easier, especially if you really want to be successful and you want to focus, just because you can, you know, have your full attention on the professor, but you also don't have anybody in kind of your way of being able to see the board and from learning. So that's what I definitely recommend trying to do, especially for a big lecture class. A lot more of my classes were smaller size lectures, so it was a little bit easier because I could pretty much see the board from wherever. Plus, a lot of teachers will also put your lectures online, so putting it on your laptop is very helpful. And then you can follow along and hear your professor talk, and you can get extra notes and things like that from your professor. Also, sitting by the board is great just in case if they write something on the board that may not be online in the lecture, and if they don't do lecture notes with like extra notes from what was said in class, it's going to be really hard because that's something that you're going to miss out on and could potentially be on an exam. While you're in class, avoid having your phone out. This is really great just to kind of keep all distractions tucked away, just to allow you to be as successful as possible. And my last tip for this video, I'm so sorry, this is so long, but the last tip is to try to see if you can auto record your classes. And this is great, especially if you have a professor that talks fast or you write slower, and you can get accommodations for this, or just seeing if the professor will let you do this. But recording the class via audio will be really helpful, so you can try to catch every little thing in case you miss something. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, comment below, and subscribe, as well as don't forget to follow my social media. I'll have it right here for you guys. But yeah, anyways, I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!